Public speaking is not about standing on a stage. It is about standing inside your own confidence. Every word you speak carries power. Every sentence you deliver shapes how people see you, trust you, and follow you. Communication is the bridge between who you are and how far you can go. In today's world, success belongs to those who can speak with clarity, connect with emotion, and lead with presence. This audiobook will take you deep into the mindset, skill set, and presence of powerful communicators. If you are ready to transform your voice into influence and your presence into authority, stay with this journey and subscribe for more life-changing lessons. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Powerful Communication. Powerful communication does not begin on a stage. It begins in the mind. Before a voice is heard, before a word is spoken, before an audience leans forward, communication is already happening inside you. The way you think about yourself shapes the way others hear you. The way you feel about your message shapes how others receive it. The way you carry your presence shapes how others respond. Communication is not a skill you switch on. It is a state you live in. The strongest speakers are not born louder. They are built deeper. They understand that communication is not about impressing. It is about connecting. It is not about dominating. It is about guiding. It is not about proving. It is about expressing. Every great communicator stands on one foundation: clarity of identity. When you know who you are, your voice becomes steady. When you know what you stand for, your words gain weight. When you trust yourself, others begin to trust you too. This is where power begins. Many people try to learn public speaking by copying others. They imitate tone. They imitate posture. They imitate gestures. But imitation creates performance, not presence. Presence is what makes people listen. Presence is what turns sound into impact. Presence is what makes silence powerful. And presence is built from within. The foundation of powerful communication is self-alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and intentions move together, your voice becomes believable. People do not listen to confidence. They feel it. They feel when your words come from certainty. They feel when your message comes from conviction. They feel when your energy comes from truth. This emotional authenticity is what separates speakers from leaders. A speaker delivers information. A leader transfers belief. A speaker fills time. A leader changes minds. A speaker performs. A leader influences. Powerful communication is influence. Influence is not force. It is emotional authority. And emotional authority begins with inner grounding. When you walk into a room, your body already speaks. Your posture tells people if you trust yourself. Your breathing tells people if you are calm. Your eyes tell people if you are present. Your silence tells people if you are grounded. Long before your first word, your presence has already shaped perception. This is why powerful communicators do not rush. They arrive. They allow the room to feel them. They let their energy settle. They let the moment breathe. They do not fight for attention. Attention finds them. The foundation of communication is emotional control. When emotions control you, your voice shakes. Your mind races, your words scatter. But when you control your emotions, your voice stabilizes, your thoughts align, your message lands. Powerful communicators train their nervous system. They regulate fear, they calm pressure, they master adrenaline. They turn anxiety into presence. They turn tension into focus. They turn energy into power. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is fuel. The question is who controls it. Fear controlled becomes intensity. Fear uncontrolled becomes chaos. Great communicators do not eliminate fear. They channel it. They convert nervous energy into presence. They convert pressure into performance. They convert emotion into expression. This is emotional mastery. Communication is not about being perfect. It is about being clear. Perfection creates distance. Clarity creates connection. When people understand you, they trust you. When they trust you, they follow you. The foundation of communication is simplicity. Powerful speakers do not complicate ideas. They distill them. They break complexity into clarity. They turn confusion into understanding. They transform information into meaning. People do not remember complicated messages. They remember simple truths. Clarity is respect. When you speak clearly, you respect the listener's mind. When you organize your thoughts, you guide their attention. When you structure your message, you create emotional flow. Flow is what keeps people listening. Flow is what carries attention forward. Flow is what makes time disappear. Great communication is emotional storytelling without fiction. It is the art of guiding someone's inner experience. You are not speaking to ears. You are speaking to hearts. You are speaking to minds. You are speaking to memory. The foundation of communication is intention. Why are you speaking? Why does this matter? Why should they care? When your intention is weak, your message feels empty. When your intention is strong, your message feels alive. People feel purpose before they understand content. When your purpose is real, your words carry weight. This is why the most powerful speakers speak with meaning, not noise. Meaning creates movement. Movement creates change. Communication is not about volume. It is about vibration. Your voice vibrates emotion. Your words vibrate thought. Your presence vibrates belief. And vibration moves people. Powerful communication is leadership in motion. Every conversation is an opportunity to lead. Every presentation is an opportunity to inspire. Every speech is an opportunity to shape perspective. This is why communication skills determine success. Success is built through people. People are influenced through communication. If you cannot communicate, you cannot lead. If you cannot lead, you cannot rise. The foundation of public speaking is confidence, not loud confidence. Not fake confidence, not forced confidence, real confidence. Confidence that comes from preparation. Confidence that comes from clarity. Confidence that comes from self-respect. When you respect yourself, others respect your voice. When you believe in your message, others believe in your vision. Confidence is not about being better than others. It is about being solid within yourself. Solid people speak differently. They pause. They breathe. They choose words carefully. They allow silence. Silence is power. Silence creates anticipation. Silence creates tension. Silence creates authority. Those who fear silence rush. Those who master silence command. The foundation of powerful communication is structure. A message without structure drifts. A message with structure leads. Structure gives your audience direction. It guides their attention. It shapes their memory. The human brain remembers patterns, not chaos. Great communicators build mental pathways. They lead the listener from idea to idea, from emotion to emotion, from understanding to action. Communication is a journey. You take people somewhere. If you don't know the destination, neither will they. Powerful speakers see the entire journey before they begin. They know where to start. They know where to build. They know where to land. This awareness creates confidence, and confidence creates authority. Authority is not dominance. It is trust. When people trust your voice, they open their minds. When they open their minds, they accept your ideas. When they accept your ideas, you influence behavior. Influence is the highest form of communication. The foundation of influence is authenticity. People can detect fake confidence instantly. They can feel exaggeration. They can sense insecurity, but they trust honesty. They respond to realness. They connect with humanity. Great communicators are human first. Speakers second. They share emotion. They show vulnerability. They reveal conviction. This creates emotional alignment. Alignment creates connection. Connection creates loyalty. The foundation of communication is emotional intelligence. Knowing what to say is important. Knowing when to say it is powerful. Knowing how to say it is mastery. Emotional intelligence allows you to read the room, feel the audience, adjust your rhythm, shift your tone, guide the energy. A speaker talks at people. A communicator speaks with them. Powerful communication is conversation on a stage. It feels personal, even in a crowd. This is the highest level of influence. When one person feels understood in a room of thousands, you have mastered communication. The foundation of communication is responsibility. Words shape minds. Voices shape belief. Speeches shape culture. Every time you speak, you carry influence. And influence carries responsibility. What you say can lift. What you say can break. What you say can inspire. What you say can destroy. Powerful communicators understand this weight. They speak with care. They speak with purpose. They speak with integrity. Because real power is not in the microphone. It is in the message, and the message begins with you. Your discipline, your clarity, your emotional strength, your presence. This is the foundation. Everything else builds on this. Your voice is a tool. Your mind is the engine. Your heart is the fuel. When all three align, your communication becomes unstoppable. And when your communication becomes unstoppable, your influence becomes inevitable. This is where success begins. This is the foundation of powerful communication. Chapter 2. Building unshakable, speaking confidence. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build. It does not arrive one morning when fear disappears. It does not appear after one successful speech. It does not stay because of one compliment. Unshakable confidence is constructed layer by layer, through discipline, through clarity, through emotional strength. The world does not reward potential, it responds to presence. And presence is born from confidence. Speaking confidence is not about volume. It is not about style. It is not about sounding perfect. It is about standing firm in your own voice. When you trust your voice, others trust it too. When you believe your words matter, people listen. When you respect your presence, the room responds. Confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is insecurity trying to hide. Confidence is stability that does not need approval. Unshakable confidence comes from inner alignment. When your mind, heart, and intention move together, your voice becomes solid. Most people lose confidence because they look outward. They search for reactions. They chase approval. They fear judgment. But real confidence is inward. It comes from knowing that your value does not depend on applause. It comes from knowing that your worth does not depend on agreement. You speak because your message matters, not because you need validation. This shift changes everything. Confidence grows when you stop trying to impress and start trying to express. Expression is honest. Impression is performance. Performance drains energy. Expression builds power. The strongest speakers speak from conviction, not from competition. They are not trying to be better than others. They are trying to be clear. Clarity builds confidence. When your thoughts are organized, your voice becomes steady. When your message is structured, your delivery becomes natural. When your purpose is strong, your fear becomes small. Fear thrives in uncertainty. Confidence grows in preparation. Preparation is respect for your craft. When you prepare, you tell yourself that your message matters. When you prepare, you tell your mind that you are capable. When you prepare, you train your nervous system to stay calm under pressure. Confidence is trained. Great speakers rehearse in silence. They walk through their message mentally. They feel the rhythm of their words. They sense the emotional flow. This mental rehearsal builds familiarity. Familiarity builds comfort. Comfort builds confidence. The brain does not know the difference between imagined experience and real experience. When you visualize yourself speaking with strength, your nervous system learns that state. When the moment arrives, your body recognizes it. Confidence is memory. It is the memory of calm, the memory of control, the memory of clarity. You build that memory every time you prepare. Unshakable confidence is also built through repetition. The first time always feels heavy. The second time feels uncomfortable. The third time feels manageable. The fourth time feels natural. The fifth time feels powerful. Repetition removes fear. not talent. Fear fades through exposure, not avoidance. Avoidance trains anxiety. Exposure trains confidence. Every time you step forward, your fear shrinks. Every time you speak, your power grows. The only way out of fear is through it. Confidence also grows through physical presence. Your body teaches your mind. When you stand tall, your brain releases strength. When you breathe deep, your nervous system calms. When your shoulders relax, your voice steadies. Your posture is not cosmetic. It is neurological. The body sends signals to the brain. The brain responds with emotion. A collapsed body creates a collapsed mindset. An upright body creates a powerful mindset. Confidence is embodied. You do not think your way into confidence. You move your way into it. Powerful communicators walk differently. They take space naturally. They move with intention. They arrive with grounded energy. This physical presence creates psychological authority. Authority begins in your own mind. When you treat yourself as valuable, others follow your lead. People mirror your self-perception. If you doubt your worth, they feel uncertainty. If you trust your voice, they listen. Confidence is emotional leadership. You lead the room by how you lead yourself. Unshakable confidence is also built through emotional regulation. Pressure is inevitable. Eyes will be on you. Expectations will exist. But pressure does not have to become panic. Panic comes from loss of control. Confidence comes from emotional mastery. When your heart races, you breathe slower. When your thoughts scatter, you anchor to your message. When tension rises, you ground into your body. These micro-adjustments create stability. Stability creates confidence. Confidence is the ability to remain present under pressure. Presence is power. Powerful speakers do not fight nerves. They ride them. They turn adrenaline into focus. They turn energy into clarity. They turn pressure into presence. This transformation is the mark of mastery. Confidence also grows from purpose. When your message is bigger than your fear becomes small. When you speak for meaning, not ego, your courage rises. People who speak only for attention collapse under pressure. People who speak for impact rise above fear. Purpose creates bravery, and bravery builds confidence. Unshakable confidence also comes from self-respect. When you respect your own voice, you do not apologize for speaking. When you respect your own message, you do not minimize your presence. When you respect your own growth, you do not shrink for comfort. Self-respect is confidence in action. You show it in how you prepare. You show it in how you enter the room. You show it in how you hold your silence. You show it in how you deliver your words. Silence is a weapon of the confident. Those who fear silence rush. Those who own silence command. A pause creates tension. Tension creates attention. Attention creates influence. Confident speakers let silence work for them. They are not afraid of the space between words. They understand that power lives there. Unshakable confidence is also built through acceptance. You will not please everyone. Not everyone will agree. Not everyone will connect. This is not failure. This is reality. The moment you accept this truth, your confidence becomes free. You stop chasing perfection. You stop fearing judgment. You stop measuring yourself through others. You speak with authenticity. Authenticity creates authority. People trust those who are real. They follow those who are grounded. They listen to those who are aligned. Confidence is alignment. It is when your words, it does not chase, it attracts. When you master speaking confidence, you change how the world responds to you. Opportunities appear. Doors open. Then people lean in. Voices quiet. Not because you demand attention, but because you deserve it. Confidence is the currency of influence. Influence shapes success, and success belongs to those who can stand firm in their voice and lead with their presence. This is the power of unshakable speaking confidence. It is built, not born. It is trained, not gifted. And once you own it, no room will ever feel too big again. Chapter 3. Mastering voice, tone and presence. Your voice is not just sound. It is a signal. It tells people how to feel before they understand what you say. It carries emotion before it carries meaning. It sets the atmosphere before it delivers the message. Great speakers are not born with powerful voices. They build them, they train them, they shape them, they command them. Your voice is an instrument, and like any instrument, it must be tuned. The first step to mastering your voice is awareness. Most people speak without hearing themselves. They speak on autopilot. They speak from habit. They speak from emotion. But powerful communicators speak with intention. They know when to soften. They know when to sharpen. They know when to slow down. They know when to accelerate. Voice control is not about sounding impressive. It is about sounding intentional. People trust voices that sound deliberate. They follow voices that sound certain. They remember voices that sound present. A rushed voice signals fear. A shaky voice signals doubt. A flat voice signals disinterest. But a grounded voice signals authority. A calm voice signals confidence. A warm voice signals connection. Your tone shapes perception. Tone can turn a sentence into encouragement. Tone can turn a sentence into threat. Tone can turn information into inspiration. Tone can turn silence into power. Two people can say the same words and create completely different reactions. The difference is tone. Tone is emotion in sound form. When your tone is aligned with your intention, your message becomes believable. When your tone contradicts your message, your words lose credibility. This is why mastering tone is mastering trust. People trust voices that sound honest. They distrust voices that sound forced. Your tone reveals your emotional state. If your mind is calm, your tone will be steady. If your mind is clear, your tone will be focused. If your mind is confident, your tone will be firm. Your voice cannot hide your inner world. It translates it. This is why presence is the foundation of vocal power. Presence means you are fully here, not distracted, not rushed, not scattered. Presence slows your speech. Presence deepens your tone. Presence strengthens your delivery. When you are present, people feel it. They lean in. They listen differently. They trust more. Presence turns sound into authority. Your breath controls your voice. Shallow breath creates weak sound. Deep breath creates powerful tone. Your lungs are the engine of your voice. Your diaphragm is the power source. When you breathe deep, your voice carries. When you breathe shallow, your voice fades. Powerful communicators breathe before they speak. They anchor their breath. They settle their body. They stabilize their mind. Then they deliver. This preparation happens in seconds, but its effect lasts for minutes. Breath creates calm. Calm creates control. Control creates confidence. Voice mastery begins with breath mastery. Your pace also defines your presence. Fast speech feels nervous. Slow speech feels confident. Balanced speech feels powerful. When you rush, you lose weight. When you pause, you gain authority. Pauses are not weakness. Pauses are command. They give your words space. They give your audience time. They give your message impact. Silence is not empty. It is loaded. Silence creates anticipation. Anticipation creates attention. Attention creates influence. Those who fear silence talk too much. Those who master silence speak just enough. Your volume must be intentional. Soft voices draw people closer. Firm voices establish leadership. Dynamic voices keep people engaged. Monotone kills attention. Variation builds momentum. The rise and fall of your voice creates emotional rhythm, and rhythm is what keeps people listening. A powerful voice feels alive. It moves with the message. It rises with passion. It softens with reflection. It sharpens with conviction. Your voice must reflect your meaning. Presence is the body of communication. People read your body faster than your words. Your posture announces your confidence. Your movement reveals your control. Your stillness signals authority. Powerful communicators move with purpose. They do not fidget. They do not collapse. They do not shrink. They stand grounded. They occupy space naturally. They move when it adds meaning. Stillness is one of the strongest forms of presence. A still body creates focus. A still body creates tension. A still body creates power. Movement should support the message, not distract from it. Every step must have purpose. Every gesture must have meaning. Every motion must add value. Random movement leaks nervous energy. Intentional movement channels power. Presence is not performance. It is alignment. When your body, voice, and message move together, your communication becomes magnetic. People cannot look away. They cannot tune out. They cannot ignore you, because you feel real, and real presence commands attention. Eye contact is another pillar of presence. Eyes build connection. Eyes build trust. Eyes build authority. When you look at people, they feel seen. When they feel seen, they listen. Avoiding eye contact weakens presence. Staring aggressively creates discomfort. Balanced eye contact creates rapport. It tells people you are confident. It tells people you are engaged. It tells people you are present. Presence is also emotional. Your emotional state leaks through your expression. If you are tense, people feel tension. If you are calm, people feel calm. If you are confident, people feel confident in you. You set the emotional tone of the room. This is leadership. Leadership begins with presence. Presence creates authority. Authority creates influence. Influence creates success. The greatest communicators in history were not the loudest. They were the most present. Their voices carried depth. Their tones carried conviction. Their presence carried power. People trusted them before they spoke, because presence speaks first. Your voice is your signature. Your tone is your emotion. Your presence is your identity. When all three align, you become unforgettable. People may forget your words, but they will remember how you made them feel. And that feeling comes from your voice, your tone, and your presence. Master these three, and you master influence. You no longer speak to be heard. You speak to be felt. And when people feel your message, they carry it with them long after you leave the room. This is the power of mastering voice, tone, and presence. It transforms speaking into leadership. It turns communication into command. It turns words into legacy. Chapter 4: Crafting Messages that Move People to Action. Words are not just sound. They are motion. Every sentence you speak creates a direction. Every phrase you choose pushes the mind forward. Every message you deliver carries the power to move people emotionally, mentally, and physically. A message is not meant to sit in the air. It is meant to travel. It travels through thought. It travels through feeling. It travels through memory. And when it lands correctly, it turns listening into action. Great communicators do not speak to inform. They speak to transform. Transformation is movement. And movement is created by emotional alignment. A message that moves people does not begin with facts. It begins with meaning. Meaning is what gives words weight. Meaning is what gives language purpose. Meaning is what makes a message worth carrying forward. People do not act on information. They act on emotion. Emotion turns thought into motivation. Motivation turns intention into action. This is the core of persuasive communication. A message must first be felt before it can be followed. This is why powerful speakers speak from the inside out. They do not start with what they want to say. They start with what people need to feel. When emotion opens the mind, the message enters easily. A message without emotion is forgotten. A message with emotion becomes memory. Memory drives behavior. This is how movements are built. A moving message is not complicated. It is clear. It is focused. It is intentional. Clarity is power. When your message is clear, your audience relaxes. When they relax, they listen. When they listen, they absorb. Confusion kills momentum. Clarity creates direction. A powerful message always has one central truth, one idea, one purpose, one direction. When your message tries to do too much, it does nothing. But when your message does one thing well, it changes minds. Great communicators build their message around a single core. Every word supports it. Every example strengthens it. Every emotion amplifies it. This creates impact. Impact is what moves people. A message that moves people is built on belief. If you do not believe your own message, no one else will. Belief is contagious. When you speak with conviction, people feel certainty. When they feel certainty, they follow. Conviction comes from alignment. When your values align with your words, your voice carries truth. Now, truth resonates. People may question facts. They rarely question conviction. A message that moves people also respects the listener's world. You cannot force change. You must invite it. People resist being pushed. They respond to being understood. When your message reflects their reality, they lean in. When they feel seen, they feel safe. Safety creates openness. Openness creates change. This is why powerful messages begin with empathy. Empathy builds bridges. Bridges carry ideas. A message without empathy feels cold. A message with empathy feels personal. Personal messages move people. Another pillar of a moving message is relevance. If people cannot see themselves in your words, they will not carry your message forward. Relevance creates ownership. When people feel the message belongs to them, they act on it. Ownership turns inspiration into behavior. A message must live in the listener's world. It must speak their language. It must reflect their struggles. It must mirror their hopes. When a message feels familiar, it feels real. And real messages create real change. The structure of a message also shapes its power. A powerful message has rhythm. It builds, it flows, it rises. It takes the listener on a journey. The human mind loves story. It remembers sequence. It follows emotion. A message that moves people feels like a journey, not a lecture. It carries tension. It carries release. It carries insight. And insight is what changes perspective. Perspective shapes action. A message without direction leaves people inspired but lost. A message with direction leaves people inspired and ready. Readiness is the goal. You do not just want people to feel something. You want them to do something. Action is the final destination of every powerful message. But action cannot be forced. It must be invited. The invitation comes through emotional clarity. When your message aligns thought, feeling, and purpose, people move naturally. A moving message also uses contrast. People understand light because they know darkness. They value growth because they know stagnation. They seek change because they feel limitation. Contrast creates awareness. Awareness creates urgency. Urgency creates motion. A message that highlights the gap between where people are and where they could be creates internal momentum. Momentum drives action. The greatest messages in history did not just describe reality. They challenged it. They offered a vision. They painted possibility. Vision ignites imagination. Imagination fuels motivation. A message that moves people shows them a better future. Not as fantasy, but as possibility. When people see what is possible, they begin to move toward it. A moving message does not shout. It guides. It does not demand. It invites. It does not pressure. It inspires. Inspiration creates sustainable action. Pressure creates resistance. Resistance blocks movement. Great communicators never fight resistance. They dissolve it. They dissolve it with understanding. They dissolve it with clarity. They dissolve it with purpose. When resistance fades, action flows. A message that moves people is not built on manipulation. It is built on respect. Respect for the listener's intelligence. Respect for the listener's emotions. Respect for the listener's journey. People follow those who respect them. They resist those who try to control them. A powerful message is a partnership. You walk with the listener. You do not pull them. This partnership builds trust. Trust opens the door to influence. Influence creates impact. Impact shapes the world. A message that moves people's lives beyond the moment it is spoken. It echoes in the mind. It lingers in the heart. It shows up in decisions. This is the mark of great communication. It becomes part of the listener's identity. They carry it forward. They repeat it. They live it. This is how ideas spread, not through volume, but through resonance. Resonance is the soul of influence. When your message resonates, it becomes unstoppable. It moves across rooms, across cultures, across generations, because it speaks to something deeper than logic. It speaks to purpose, and purpose moves people more than any argument ever could. Crafting messages that move people is not about being clever. It is about being clear. It is not about sounding impressive. It is about being impactful. It is not about speaking more. It is about meaning more. When your message carries meaning, it carries power. When it carries power, it creates motion. And when it creates motion, you become more than a speaker. You become a leader of minds, a shaper of direction, a catalyst for change. This is the art of crafting messages that move people to action. And once you master this art, your voice becomes a force that does not just speak, but transforms. Chapter 5. Connecting with any audience, anywhere. Connection is the real currency of communication. Without connection, words fall flat. Without connection, messages fade. Without connection, even the strongest ideas lose power. But when connection is present, every word carries weight. Every pause holds meaning. Every sentence lands where it should. Great speakers do not speak to crowds. They speak to hearts. They do not address numbers. They reach individuals. No matter how large the room is, they make it feel personal. Because connection is not about size, it is about alignment. When people feel aligned with you, they listen differently. They trust more deeply. They open more fully. Connection is emotional recognition. It is the moment someone feels seen. It is the moment someone feels understood. It is the moment someone feels included. This moment changes everything. The first rule of connection is respect. Every audience carries emotion. Every room has a story. Every group has its own energy. If you ignore that energy, you lose the room. If you acknowledge it, you gain trust. Connection begins when people feel respected, not managed. People do not want to be talked at. They want to be spoken with. Great communicators enter every room with awareness. They feel the atmosphere. They read the emotional temperature. They sense the mood. This awareness shapes how they speak. They never impose their energy. They merge with it. If the room is quiet, they begin softly. If the room is tense, they bring calm. If the room is energetic, they bring focus. This emotional matching creates instant rapport. Rapport is the bridge between speaker and listener. Once rapport is built, everything flows. Without it, nothing moves. Connection also depends on authenticity. People can feel when someone is pretending. They sense exaggeration. They detect insecurity. The strongest speakers do not hide behind performance. They show up as real human beings. They share emotion. They show vulnerability. They reveal conviction. This creates emotional alignment. Alignment turns listeners into allies. Connection is also built through empathy. Empathy is the ability to feel the listener's world, not to imagine it. Not to guess it, but to sense it. When you speak from empathy, your message feels personal. It feels relevant. It feels real. People listen when they feel understood. They resist when they feel judged. Empathy removes resistance. Resistance blocks influence. Influence flows where empathy lives. Connecting with any audience also requires adaptability. No two audiences are the same. No two rooms feel identical. No two moments carry the same energy. Great communicators adjust. They do not use rigid scripts. They use flexible awareness. They read the room. They adjust pace. They adjust tone. They adjust emotion. This adaptability makes them universal. They can speak to executives and students. They can speak to crowds and individuals. They can speak in formal rooms and informal spaces, because connection is not about setting. It is about sensitivity. Sensitivity is social intelligence in action. Connection also grows through shared emotion. People connect more through feeling than through information. Facts inform. Emotion bonds. A speaker who touches emotion creates memory. Memory creates loyalty. Loyalty creates influence. When people feel something with you, they remember you. When they remember you, they follow you. This is why the most powerful communicators do not rely on logic alone. They speak to the heart. The heart is the gatekeeper of attention. Once the heart opens, the mind follows. Connection also depends on presence. Presence is the feeling of being fully here. Kanawin now, not distracted, not rushed, not distant. Presence makes people feel important. When you give full attention, people feel valued. Value builds trust. Trust builds connection. Connection builds influence. Influence creates success. The strongest speakers make every listener feel like the only one in the room. Even in a crowd of thousands, they create intimacy. They speak with warmth. They look with intention. They listen with depth. This emotional focus transforms the room. The audience no longer feels like a group. It feels like a conversation, and conversations build connection faster than speeches. Connecting with any audience also means respecting diversity. Different cultures feel emotion differently. Different backgrounds process language differently. Different experiences shape perception differently. Great communicators honor these differences. They speak inclusively. They avoid assumptions. They invite understanding. This creates psychological safety. Safety allows people to open. Open audiences connect faster. Connection also depends on emotional honesty. People trust speakers who are real. Not perfect. Not flawless. Real. When you acknowledge challenges, people relate. When you share growth, people connect. When you speak with humility, people listen. Humility is magnetic. It disarms resistance. It builds trust. It creates emotional closeness. The most respected speakers do not elevate themselves above the audience. They stand with them. This creates unity. Unity strengthens connection. Connection transforms communication into leadership. When people feel connected, they want to follow. They want to support. They want to engage. They want to act. This is the power of true communication. It is not control. It is influence, and influence is built on connection. Connecting with any audience, anywhere, is not about talent. It is about awareness. It is about respect. It is about empathy. It is about presence. It is about authenticity. When these elements align, connection becomes effortless. You walk into any room with confidence. You speak to any group with clarity. You engage any audience with impact, because you are not speaking at them. You are connecting with them. And when connection is real, communication becomes powerful. Your voice carries further. Your message lands deeper. Your influence grows stronger. This is how great speakers turn strangers into allies, listeners into supporters, and audiences into movements. This is the art of connecting with any audience, anywhere. Chapter 6. Handling fear, pressure, and stage anxiety. Fear is not your enemy. It is your energy. Pressure is not your weakness. It is your fuel. Anxiety is not a sign that you are unprepared. It is a sign that you care. Every powerful speaker has felt it. The tight chest, the racing heart, the restless mind, the dry mouth. These sensations are not danger. They are activation. Your body is preparing you to perform. The problem is not fear. The problem is how you interpret it. When you label fear as threat, your body goes into survival. Your mind scatters. Your voice weakens. But when you label fear as energy, your body becomes alert. Your mind sharpens. Your focus intensifies. The same sensation creates two different outcomes. Great communicators do not try to erase fear. They train it. They convert pressure into presence. They turn anxiety into awareness. They transform tension into power. This transformation begins with understanding your nervous system. Your body reacts before your mind thinks. Your heart accelerates. Your breath shortens. Your muscles tighten. This is not panic. This is readiness. Your nervous system is preparing you to be seen, to be heard, to be felt. If you fight this process, you create resistance. Resistance amplifies fear. But if you accept the sensation, your body relaxes into control. Acceptance is the first step to mastery. Fear loses its grip when it is welcomed instead of resisted. The strongest speakers do not stand on stage pretending to be fearless. They stand on stage fully alive. They feel the energy. They breathe through it. They ride it. This is how fear becomes presence. The breath is your anchor. When pressure rises, your breath becomes shallow. Shallow breath feeds panic. Deep breath feeds control. Every confident speaker has mastered one thing: breathing under pressure. A slow inhale tells your brain that you are safe. A slow exhale tells your nervous system to settle. In seconds, your body shifts from panic to power. Breath is your reset button. When your breath is steady, your voice stabilizes, your mind clears, your presence strengthens. Pressure fades into focus. Your posture also shapes your psychology. A collapsed body creates doubt. An upright body creates certainty. When you stand tall, your brain releases strength. When you open your chest, your confidence expands. Your body teaches your mind how to feel. Powerful speakers use posture as a weapon. They plant their feet. They ground their stance. They claim their space. This physical grounding creates emotional grounding. The mind follows the body. Stage anxiety thrives in mental chaos. When your thoughts race, fear grows. When your mind settles, confidence rises. Mental clarity comes from preparation. Preparation is the antidote to panic. When you know your message, your fear loses power. When you trust your structure, your mind relaxes. When you believe in your purpose, your courage rises. Confidence is built before the stage. The stage only reveals what you trained. Great communicators rehearse emotionally, not just verbally. They imagine the room. They feel the energy. They visualize their presence. Their brain learns the experience before it happens. When the moment arrives, their nervous system recognizes it. This familiarity dissolves fear. Fear thrives in the unknown. Confidence grows in familiarity. Exposure trains courage. The first time feels overwhelming. The second time feels heavy. The third time feels challenging. The fourth time feels manageable. The fifth time feels natural. Fear fades through repetition. Every time you step forward, your threshold expands. Every time you speak, your comfort zone grows. Avoidance trains anxiety. Action trains confidence. The only way to master fear is to face it. Pressure also changes perception. When eyes are on you, your mind tells you that everyone is judging. But most people are not judging. They are listening. They are hoping. They are waiting to be guided. The audience is not your enemy. They are your allies. They want you to succeed. They want to feel inspired. They want to be moved. When you shift your focus from yourself to them, fear dissolves. Self-focus creates anxiety. Service focus creates courage. When your intention is to give value, your nerves turn into purpose. Purpose is stronger than fear. Stage anxiety also fades when you accept imperfection. You do not need to be flawless. You need to be present. People connect with humanity, not perfection. Small mistakes do not break trust. They build authenticity. Your audience does not want a robot. They want a real person. This truth frees you. You no longer perform. You communicate. Communication feels natural. Performance feels heavy. Confidence grows in naturalness. Pressure also demands focus. When your attention scatters, fear rises. When your attention centers, power returns. Great speakers anchor their focus. They lock into their message. They lock into their breath. They lock into their purpose. Everything else fades. This creates a tunnel of clarity. Inside this tunnel, pressure becomes silence. Noise becomes stillness. Fear becomes presence. You are no longer reacting. You are leading. Leadership dissolves anxiety. Because leaders do not wait for permission. They create direction. When you lead the room follows you. This sense of command creates emotional stability. And stability is confidence. Handling fear is not about toughness. It is about intelligence. You do not overpower fear. You understand it. You do not crush anxiety. You transform it. You do not eliminate pressure. You use it. This is mastery. Mastery turns nervousness into magnetism. People feel your energy. They feel your intensity. They feel your passion. And passion inspires. A calm speaker informs. A passionate speaker moves. Fear creates passion. If you use it correctly, pressure sharpens presence. If you channel it, anxiety becomes excitement. When your mind reinterprets the sensation, your body does not know fear. It only knows energy. You decide what that energy means. When you label it fear, it becomes panic. When you label it readiness, it becomes power. This mental shift changes everything. Stage anxiety fades. When your identity becomes bigger than the moment, you are not defined by one speech. You are not measured by one room. You are not judged by one performance. You are building a voice. You are shaping influence. You are growing into leadership. This perspective removes pressure. You stop trying to prove. You start trying to serve. Service removes fear, because service comes from strength, and strength commands presence. Handling fear is not about eliminating emotion. It is about directing it. When emotion flows with purpose, it becomes power, and power moves people. The stage is not a battlefield. It is a platform to share, a platform to lead, a platform to inspire. When you see it this way, fear transforms into opportunity. Opportunity creates courage. Courage creates confidence. Confidence creates authority. And authority creates success. This is how you handle fear, pressure, and stage anxiety. You do not run from them. You rise through them. And when you do, no room will ever intimidate you again. Chapter 7. Persuasive Communication and the Power of Influence. Influence is not control. It is alignment. Persuasion is not pressure. It is resonance. Powerful communicators do not force decisions. They shape perception. They do not command behavior. They awaken intention. They do not push people forward. They create a pull so strong that movement feels natural. This is the real power of influence. Influence begins with trust. Without trust, words are noise. Without trust, messages dissolve. Without trust, even the strongest logic fails. People follow those they trust. They listen to those they respect. They act for those they believe in. Trust is built through consistency. When your words match your actions, your presence becomes credible. When your tone matches your intention, your voice becomes believable. When your message matches your values, your influence becomes authentic. Authenticity is the foundation of persuasion. People can sense when someone is manipulating. They feel when a message carries hidden intent. They detect when language is designed to control. This creates resistance. Resistance blocks influence. But when your intention is clear and clean, people relax. Relaxed minds receive. Tense minds reject. Persuasive communication begins with emotional alignment. You cannot influence someone until you understand them. You cannot guide someone until you respect their reality. Influence flows through empathy. Empathy allows you to speak into the listener's world. It lets you frame ideas inside their values. It connects your message to their desires. When people feel understood, they listen differently. When they feel respected, they open up. When they feel aligned, they move. The strongest persuaders do not start with arguments. They start with connection. Connection opens the door, then influence enters. Persuasion is the art of shaping belief. Belief shapes behavior. If you change what someone believes, you change what they do. Beliefs live in emotion. Facts inform the mind. Emotion drives the will. This is why emotional persuasion is stronger than logical persuasion. Logic convinces. Emotion commits. Commitment creates action. A persuasive message carries emotional weight. It speaks to identity. It speaks to purpose. It speaks to meaning. People act when they see themselves in the message. When a message aligns with who they are or who they want to become, it becomes powerful. Persuasion is identity shaping. You show people a better version of themselves. You invite them to step into it. When people believe that your message supports their growth, they follow it. This is how leaders create movements. Influence also depends on clarity. A confusing message creates doubt. A clear message creates confidence. Confidence moves people. When people understand the path, they walk it. When the path is unclear, they hesitate. Hesitation kills momentum. Momentum drives influence. Persuasive communicators simplify complexity. They remove mental friction. They turn confusion into certainty. Certainty inspires action. People do not need more information. They need direction. Direction gives meaning. Meaning creates movement. Influence is also built through emotional framing. How you frame an idea changes how it is received. A challenge can feel like opportunity. A change can feel like growth. A risk can feel like progress. Framing shapes perception. Perception shapes reality. Great communicators do not change facts. They change how facts are seen. This is the psychology of persuasion. Influence also grows through credibility. People trust those who demonstrate experience. They follow those who show wisdom. They respect those who live their message. Credibility is not status, it is substance. When your life reflects your words, your influence multiplies. When your actions validate your message, people listen. Persuasive communication is built on integrity. Without integrity, influence collapses. With integrity, influence expands. Another pillar of persuasion is emotional storytelling. Stories bypass resistance. They enter the heart quietly. They settle into memory. They shape belief. A well-told story carries meaning effortlessly. People remember stories long after they forget facts. This is why stories move cultures. They create shared emotion. They create shared identity. They create shared vision. Vision is persuasive. When people can see the future, they move toward it. A persuasive communicator paints possibility. They show what life could be. They reveal what growth looks like. They offer a path forward. This activates imagination. Imagination fuels motivation. Motivation creates action. Influence is also strengthened through consistency of message. Repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity builds trust. Trust builds influence. The strongest messages are heard many times, in many forms. Each repetition deepens belief. Belief strengthens commitment. Commitment shapes behavior. Persuasive communicators do not scatter their message. They reinforce it. They build it layer by layer. They let it sink in. This creates lasting impact. Influence also requires patience. People rarely change instantly. They shift gradually. Persuasion is not a moment. It is a process. You plant an idea. You nurture belief. You reinforce direction. Over time, change happens. Social pressure never creates real change. Internal conviction does. Persuasive communication builds conviction. Conviction drives action. Influence also depends on confidence. People follow certainty. A hesitant voice weakens persuasion. A steady voice strengthens belief. When you speak with conviction, people feel security. Security opens the mind. An open mind receives ideas. Ideas shape reality. Persuasion is also about timing. A message delivered at the wrong moment loses power. A message delivered at the right moment changes lives. Great communicators sense readiness. They speak when the heart is open. They guide when the mind is receptive. This emotional timing amplifies influence. Influence also grows through respect for autonomy. People resist being controlled. They accept being guided. Persuasive communicators never remove choice. They strengthen it. They show options. They reveal outcomes. They invite decision. This creates ownership. Ownership creates commitment. Commitment drives action. The most persuasive leaders do not create followers. They create believers. Believers act without being told. Believers spread the message. Believers build the movement. This is the highest form of influence. Persuasive communication also requires emotional discipline. Anger weakens influence. Arrogance destroys it. Desperation exposes it. Calm confidence strengthens persuasion. When you speak with grounded authority, people trust your direction. When you stay composed under pressure, your message carries weight. Emotional stability builds credibility. Credibility builds influence. Influence creates leadership. Leadership shapes success. Persuasive communication is leadership in motion. Every word is a step. Every sentence is a guidepost. Every message is a direction. The world moves where leaders point, and leaders point with language. This is why communication skills determine destiny. Those who shape belief shape behavior. Those who shape behavior shape culture. Those who shape culture shape history. Influence is not about power over people. It is about power for people. You do not persuade to control. You persuade to empower. You do not influence to dominate. You influence to elevate. When persuasion comes from service, it becomes unstoppable. People follow those who lift them. They resist those who use them. This difference defines great leadership. Persuasive communication is not manipulation. It is alignment. It aligns vision with action. It aligns values with direction. It aligns people with purpose. And when people move with purpose, success follows. This is the power of influence. Not to command the world, but to guide it. Not to control minds, but to awaken them. Not to force action, but to inspire it. Master this art, and your voice becomes a force that moves people, a force that shapes reality, a force that builds success. This is persuasive communication. This is the power of influence. Final ending. You did not start this journey to become a speaker. You started it to become a force of clarity in a noisy world, a force of truth in a distracted generation, a force of leadership in a time that needs direction. Every chapter has strengthened your presence. Every lesson has sharpened your influence. Every insight has shaped your voice. Now the responsibility is yours, to speak when silence is easy, to lead when others hesitate, to inspire when the world needs hope. Your voice is no longer just sound. It is purpose. It is direction. It is power. Walk forward with confidence. Speak with conviction. Lead with integrity. And remember, the future is listening.